Live from our studios at One Television Plaza, this is your Mid-Ohio Valley Morning Brief.
Good morning, Mid-Ohio Valley, and thanks for joining us here this morning. I'm Emma Grace Myers.
And I'm Henry Grof, and thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Mid-Ohio Valley Morning Brief on WTAP+.
Yeah, it's a fun new thing we're doing. You get to see a little bit more of Henry and I every morning.
And then we'll talk about some fun local stories going on, and also, I mean, if Emma Grace wants, she can roast my weather forecast.
I think you'll get my displeasure until we hit spring, unfortunately.
Well, at least today is going to be a lot nicer.
That is true. I have nothing bad to say about today's weather.
Because it's not that cold this morning, and then we're going to quickly warm up into the afternoon. In fact, everybody should be able to hit the 50s.
It's a blessing.
But unfortunately, here's the bad news. It's not going to be lasting for that long because we do have a cold front that's going to be moving by. So we've had some clear skies this morning. Going to continue to enjoy some of that. But here's that warm front that we're going to get to enjoy today. That's going to be making its way through this afternoon. And then later on this evening, we do get that cold front that's going to be bringing us back down into the 30s. So looking at the next 24 hours, we're going to be seeing an increase in cloud cover, mainly later into the afternoon. Then that chance of showers, Emma Grace, that's just going to be around 7 o'clock and then heading into 9 o'clock. But we'll talk more about some quiet weather later on, and also what the Valentine's Day weekend is going to be looking like. But your full forecast later on. But what do we have to start off this morning, Emma Grace?
Yeah, we're going to kick it off with some of our local stories from this morning, and we're going to start off over in Belpre because last night a new police officer was inducted at the Belpre Police Department. A new patrolman was sworn in during Monday's Belpre City Council meeting. Jared Richards was recently hired at the Belpre Police Department. Chief Michael Stump says the department is now fully staffed. Besides a new police induction, Belpre's council meeting agenda had no new business.
Well, congratulations.
I know. I think in another life I would have been a really good cop.
Do you think you would have?
I think, actually, no. Okay, I think I would have been a terrible beat cop, but I think I would have been a great detective.
Because again, what are your degrees that you got from college once again?
Political communication and criminal justice.
So you would have been good with the criminal justice.
Yeah, I think I would do really bad as a beat cop, though I would not enjoy that. Even a little bit.
Well, let's move on to our next story this morning. So the castle held its all-ages camp as attendees learned different topics surrounding the settling of the Northwest Territory. According to the executive director of the castle, Scott Britton, the all-ages camp is an experience from the castle's Kids History Camp that lets anyone of any age see some of the activities. The activities included learning about the Northwest Ordinance, a bartering and economic course, and different banking activities. Britton says the topics being taught connect the participants to their daily lives.
It's a connection to the people and places that they see every day, to learn a little bit about the history of your town and the region here, and how it connects to their day-to-day lives and how those things connect to today. Some of those same issues are just in a little bit different form.
He also adds this year all activities so happen to align with the American 250 with different topics.
I love the baking.
You love baking?
Well, I do love baking, but I love the idea of like doing some historical baking.
And then I love the little portion about like talking about the economics handled back in the days with the bartering system.
I think we should bring back bartering.
You think so?
I do. I think that I could do a lot of good work with bartering and not just having to pay money.
Maybe. I don't think I would have been that good at the bartering system. I was good back then in elementary school. Back then in the playground.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember when Pokemon cards were popular as a kid instead of how popular they are now. Used to trade Pokemon cards for snacks on the playground.
Oh no.
Was I that good at it?
I was a silly
I
band
think
stealer.
back then I was ripped off for my hollow foil Empoleon Pokemon card.
Yeah, we had silly bands were a big thing at my school, so I definitely was a bit of a silly bands dealer.
I remember that.
But speaking of shopping, in case you want to go get a Pokemon card or a silly band, I don't know if they still make them, renovations are currently underway at the Grand Central Mall in Vienna. Ava Hubner, marketing director at the mall, says that multiple improvement and renovation projects are underway. One of the projects includes new flooring. They're currently testing different flooring options to see which one works best for the mall's environment. Hubner says the mall will announce and reveal more renovations in the coming weeks and months.
We're making a lot of improvements over the course of the next few months. We can't officially announce anything yet, but we are testing some new things out and hoping to make some overall improvements.
Hubner added that Cafaro, the owner of the mall, is, quote, very excited to make these improvements and help the Grand Central Mall, end quote. Are you a big fan of the mall?
I do like going to the mall every once in a while, so I'm really curious about what they're going to be trying out.
Yeah, I have to say I'm more of a TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Ross girl than like the actual. I know it's all connected, but
it is.
In my head they're different, you know. So I love TJ Maxx. I have a problem with spending money at TJ
And I
Maxx.
do have to be a little bit honest. Every once in a while I do go to the Bath and Body Works, really the White Barn, so I can get some candles. I do like the candles.
I have like 4 different candles in my apartment, but I was not ready for you to say Bath and Body Works.
Well, I mean, they're Bath and Body Works, White Barn, they're both connected together. They're both the same store.
I guess I'm not that well versed in the Bath and Body Works candle world. I was big on their perfumes and lotions.
She doesn't know much about the lore.
Sorry,
she doesn't know much about the candle lore.
I don't know the candle lore. I like the candles with the little wood crackle wicks.
Really?
That's what I prefer. But let's move on to our national story for today, because opening statements began in the state of New Mexico's case against Meta. The state is accusing the social media giant of failing to protect children from sexual exploitation. Prosecutors from the New Mexico Department of Justice allege that Meta, the parent company of Instagram and Facebook, did not adequately safeguard children and teens. Meta denies the charges, citing First Amendment protection. A New Mexico judge recently denied Meta's request to block live streaming and recording of the trial. The judge emphasized the importance of public and transparent trials. I feel like social media is such a hard. I'm so glad I'm not a lawyer. I'd hate to argue that.
I'm glad I'm not a lawyer either, because social media, I mean, it's public, it's available everywhere, and obviously it's important to make sure kids are staying safe on the internet, so it's very tricky.
Yeah, I definitely I don't even know what I do whenever I have kids and they have to be on social media, because that's a whole different beast.
That is a whole different story there.
Yeah, not looking forward to that one. But we have some more fun things coming up after the break.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Winter Olympics.
Kind of. We're talking about a homemade luge and how much Americans are expected to spend this Valentine's Day. And don't forget about your full forecast,
because we're going to be talking about some rain coming back for around Valentine's Day as well.
unfortunately.
Now, here's your first alert weather update with meteorologist Henry Grof.
Well, the good news for today is that we are finally going to be seeing some warmer weather. However, this is really just going to be a one thing only as we move through the week, because a cold front is going to be pushing by. So Wednesday and Thursday, we're back into those upper 30s, but at least remaining above that freezing mark. So what's going to be coming through the Middle Ohio Valley today? Well, for now, at least we're going to be starting off with clear skies this morning. Morning commute was nice and easy. But here comes that warm front that's going to help push us into the 50s, and then a cold front passing by this evening that is going to be ushering in those showers. But don't worry, we do have that warming trend coming back by Friday into the weekend, the upper 40s, then those 50s making a return by Monday. So as we look at futurecast, we'll start to see those showers arriving by around 7 o'clock and then exiting the region by 9. Really not expecting that much activity. So once that's through, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, will be back on the quiet side, but just not going to be as warm as what we're going to get this afternoon. But into Valentine's Day weekend, any plans that you have? So far, our Saturday is going to be on the dry side, but we're going to keep an eye on this system that's going to be approaching, and that's going to be bringing in that chance of rain for us heading into Sunday, and we'll only really see rain out of this system, not expecting any more of that messy winter weather here in the Mid-Ohio Valley. So as we go through the day today, getting temperatures back up into those mid-50s, but then those showers come through again by 9 o'clock. We should be done with all of that, but we'll be dropping back down into those lower 30s. For tomorrow, only getting temperatures up into the upper 30s. It will be a bit breezy at times, looking at winds around 10 to 15 miles per hour. But take a look at that 7-day forecast. Going to be enjoying that quiet weather for the rest of the week, even though we could be going for something a little bit warmer by Friday into the 40s, and then by Monday we'll be back into those 50s after the rain is done on Sunday. Now, time to take a look at what's trending. Okay, so Valentine's Day weekend is almost upon us, and that's what's going to be our first What's Trending story.
Yeah, because luckily the weather isn't going to be terrible. So if you spend a lot of money, you're not alone, because the National Retail Federation expects Americans will spend $29 billion this Valentine's Day. That is a record amount. According to the NRF's annual survey, shoppers are budgeting nearly $200 for gifts. That includes gifts for romantic partners, family members, children's classmates, and teachers, co-workers, and pets. Candy remains the most popular Valentine's Day gift, followed by flowers, cards, a night out, and jewelry.
Do you know how to save money on all of this?
No. Stay single.
Stay single.
Or just work smarter.
Or you and your significant other can both agree that maybe next week is Valentine's Day, and then you can get all of the discounts on the candy.
You know, I think there's something very special about like a homemade gift. Like a homemade gift for the person you care about, whether that's your spouse, your boyfriend, your kids. I
think that's another good idea, because then you can save money on that.
Yeah. I support being a little crafty and creative every holiday season.
That is a phenomenal idea.
I like to think so. But
great tips from Emma Grace.
I do so good with the romance.
Well, let's move on to our next story, because you've probably been hearing me on Daybreak talk about the Winter Olympics. Personally, I love the Winter Olympics, so why not try it at home? So this Winter Wonderland is a gift from a Minneapolis area man to his grandchildren. It includes the Papa Bear Plunge. That's Steve Blee's name for his homemade luge course that's almost 300 feet long. He estimates it took him more than 100 hours to build. His grandkids say they love it and appreciate their grandpa. What a great idea.
I love, you know, I didn't get a ton of snow where I grew up. I got a little bit, but we would usually get enough once a year to build ramps and stuff when we were sledding.
I remember, growing up, we used to have a large hill behind my house that belonged to another family, but they were willing to let the neighborhood come around and sled on it. Now, between my parents' house and the other house was a area of trees, and we hid a ramp in there, and we would take that ramp and use it to go down the hill and then go off the ramp.
Yeah.
Did anybody get injured? No.
I have a very different story.
No one was injured.
My neighbors growing up in North Carolina, their backyard was straight up a hill, so was mine, but we had a lot of other stuff in ours, and so me and my older brother, who's 2 years older than me, and then my neighbor who's right in between us, and our other two neighbors who were my brother and I's age, would all sled together. And my brother and I were on a sled together going down this very steep hill, and we went into a frozen creek, and I think both of us came inside the house soaking wet and probably a little bruised and bloody, and we were no longer allowed to sled in the yard into the creek.
Oh my.
You know, it's really, it is a mystery that I didn't break more bones as a child at my solid 7.
You're surprised that the number of broken bones isn't any larger than what it is at the moment.
Yeah, the fact that it's only been 7 is quite impressive with everything I did as a child.
Only 7.
Only 7 major breaks. That's not counting my fingers.
Okay.
Just major breaks, 7.
Well, let's move on to Daybreak Trivia.
Yeah, because obviously we've already done Daybreak Trivia
Yes.
for the day, but we have some fun facts about today's Daybreak Trivia question, which was, who had the idea for duct tape? The answer is Vestas Stout. Stout was a factory worker packing World War II munitions, and she wrote to FDR outlining, with drawings, her idea to replace the weak paper packing tape with a tougher waterproof cloth version. And FDR was so impressed that he sent her stuff right into production, and now we have duct tape.
And now we have duct tape to this day. Whenever something is broken, just a lot of duct tape on it.
I do. I always had duct tape in my little toolkit that my dad gave me when I moved into my first college dorm. It had all, the normal tools, and then a roll of duct tape.
Oh, a nice classic roll of duct tape. Do you have any different colored duct tape?
It's pink, as most things in my life are. Pink,
I
of
only
course.
have the plain old silver stuff, but maybe I should get some different colored stuff.
I'll get you some, maybe I can find some curling duct tape for you.
Curling duct tape,
See what
that
I
would be
can
a
get.
fantastic idea.
But thank you guys for joining us today on our morning brief. He's Henry Grof, I'm Emma Grace Myers, and we will see you guys again at the noon.